We should somehow bring West into the process here somewhere.
And it should be in the final 9.
In the final 9, you think? What do you think,
Pete,
Aaron?
well, Pete, and I think Aaron's indicated Pete's willing to fill out the application and be part of that. I'd like to see Steve involved too, just because of the technical aspects.
You just took it up to 12.
Well,
Unless you're not gonna
12
have
divided
anybody.
by 3 is 4. If we're going into groups of 3, 12 is a good number.
Well, but you can only have 2 board members.
Right.
Well, that's what he was saying, there'd be one board member that would work with 2, whether it be another staff
Wow.
and a
So you're gonna have.
community.
You have to have 3 groups, 3 separate
groups of
groups
4.
in order to accommodate the board. Then you round out each group with whatever you decide you're gonna pick up,
Or you either do it 9 or 12.
either 9 or 12 people.
I think 12 is a magical number. You getting all this, Aaron?
I think so. I'll come back, go over and say back what I think I am hearing here.
What about the development of the matrix? Do you think this sheet, pretty much the grade sheet's pretty much reflective of what we need to be asking or grading them on?
You know, on that grade sheet, if I can find it here, so this is kind of what the pre-screening, you know, that Mary and I would do would be based on. The next step, I guess, would be, we had the telephone interview questions or the actual personal board interview questions. There's not a matrix specifically tied to this one yet,
Right.
but again, we can tie a matrix to that, point system.
So I guess we need to define for you who's going to be in the telephone, the screening process after the pre-screening, right?
Correct.
You know, the
Okay.
city has a matrix form, instead of spending a lot of time creating one, why don't you just ask them to give you a form or email you a copy of the form where they use and start spot, put the person's name and the people who are gonna be involved in that particular group, and then,
We even have them for staff that we've used
Yeah.
here and whatnot, just not specifically.
Well, we have what we used with the city.
I'm just talking about
last
for the
time.
final.
Last hire is what we used from the city.
Yeah, we got.
then it has a place for everybody to put the points in, everybody turns one in, and I don't look at yours, and you don't look at mine, and, so nobody in each group knows how the number even come out for the group. You just put your total, and that's, it would be, maybe you would be the one that would tally them all and come up with the numbers. That way, then there's no question that, nobody fooled with the numbers. And you also keep those in your file, so later on, if somebody comes back and tries to sue us because they don't feel like they had a fair opportunity, then you have on file how they scored.
We didn't bring anything into the committee meeting, to the meeting, and we didn't take anything out, so.
Yeah, right.
We walked in, they handed us
Right.
a folder saying, here's
So you have no knowledge of what everybody else is doing, which is the way it should
nothing,
be.
and then you get your scoring and you close it up and you handed it back in after you got done with all the interviews, so. And I mean, we didn't have it, we had all the applications, we had all the information when we sat down, but not before, and we took nothing out.
That's another good point too, is that each one of the people in that final have to have a copy of the application of the individuals they're gonna be.
Will have your Chris
It
before
was kind of like an application, the scoring sheet, it was all put together in a little folder, and each committee person was handed that when you sat down. You didn't have any, you had a few minutes before, but you didn't get it a day or two or anything before it happened. So that way the confidentiality was, you didn't carry anything in, you didn't carry anything out.
I would use your whole staff in coming up with the questions you're gonna ask on the final. Like maybe Steve could give you some suggestions on what the question for one of them might be in a particular area, or maybe more than one. And Wes could give you some financial and so on. Mary's got, I'm sure, a lot of great ideas as well. So.
And let me make sure, so the 12 persons to be discussed. We have 5 board, 3 public,
4.
4.
Yeah, you could use 4 if you go 12.
Okay.
Well, Pete's got to fill out an application like everybody else. I mean,
Okay.
we choose to,
Right.
so he'd be one of the public if he
Okay,
chooses.
and then we have Wes, Steve,
You got 5 here.
and then who's the 12th?
Well, you
Aaron,
got
Mary,
The public.
4
So-
public and 5 board members.
So you're gonna get 13.
And then three
And you gotta have,
staff members.
That's where I'm asking which
Aaron-
staff, and if you have,
Mary, Aaron, Steve, and Wes.
That's 4.
that's 4,
So
so
that's
we're at 13.
Well, Mary,
No, and you got,
I think we
5
don't call
board
Wes.
members
He
and
counts Wes
4
in.
and you
If you're
got
having 4 from the public or 3 from the
we
public,
got 13.
3 from the public.
3 from the public.
Okay, there we go. We're good.
Well, not to be a pain in the butt, but I thought we were gonna have
Ted-
4 from the public.
Ted is out of the room, we have a question over here. so
We're just gonna request that whenever you make a motion that you give full names for the people you want. Some of us don't know who Steve is.
Steve Teason, he's the head of operations.
I'm just saying, if you'll say the full names in your motion, that would.
Got 5 board members, 4 from the public, and 3 staff members. The 3 staff members are Aaron, Wes,
Wes
and
Smith.
Steve.
Wes
And
Smith.
Mary's the one that's going to count up all the scores, right? I thought that's what we talked about. Mary will.
Whatever direction, that's what we'll do, so that's,
Kent, did you get all the last names?
It'd be helpful.
Oh, you didn't get them yet? Okay.
So there was-
Wes,
Well, we haven't made the
When you
motion
make-
yet,
That's
so
just when you make the
When we
motion,
make the
please.
motion,
Yeah.
we'll do that. At this point, we haven't made.
But
the
Mary needs to be the controlled individual. She-
Yeah.
Right, she'll hand out the package, she'll count the
she-
scores and all that. Hey, I guess the question we gotta go back to, Aaron, is when we do after you pre-screen, we got the candidates that all fit the
meet
application.
qualifications that.
Meet the qualifications. Then you're going to what I call screen. Basically, call them on the phone, interview them and stuff. Who's in that committee? That's what we gotta decide, right? So we're gonna have you and Mary,
I think just 2 board members.
2 board members.
Yeah,
Are we gonna designate who those are tonight?
might be a good idea.
Okay, let's do that.
How about Richard and Sandra?
sounds
I'd be
good.
willing to do that. As long as Sandra can put up with me.
Oh, you got it.
Who else
I've got
is
that
gonna
one.
do the telephone interviews?
Marion, Aaron, Richard, and Sandra.
Okay, so 4 of them.
Yeah. And then
So then we go from the pre-screen to the screen, which is, we just designated.
Who decides on the public?
well, we're gonna.
The public, we're gonna have the applications turned in.
And the
We
board
probably need
will
to,
decide. The
we
board
probably
will
need
decide.
to send this out to the public, let them know it's aware, and then
Have it
probably
ready
not
for
next meeting, but the meeting after that. Which would be what, the
Second
second
meeting
meeting in May? Let's, pick we'll have a meeting and pick the candidates.
Aaron, do you want me to pick up one of those matrix they use that already has the point, so it's already got how you score the points?
Mary, were you saying that we
Or you
actually
got
had that
one
from last
left over
time?
from last time?
Okay.
Okay.
Do you,
And then,
when do we, the matrix is gonna be used with the screen, right? When we call? Or is it gonna be?
I would-
No, it's
yes.
gonna be used in the final, right?
Well, we're still gonna have to have,
I think it's gonna have to be on the telephone interview as well.
Telephone interviews.
You're gonna have to have that, have some kind of
yeah,
a.
we gotta have some way to.
So we use that
Great.
then? When do, and we're gonna, we just gonna leave staff to figure that out, or do we wanna go with what they provided, or what they used previously? I mean,
Well, I
this,
think,
this one looks fine to me, I
Yeah.
mean. Which one are you looking at?
all the matrix, yeah.
Pre-screening.
Well, I think,
This what you used last
We
time?
have that from
No.
last time.
Well, that'll be already done. That'll be to get to the telephone
yeah,
interview.
the telephone, then you're gonna have
And
to
then
have
we'll
the
have some
questions you're gonna
telephone
ask.
questions, we can set up a matrix with
Okay.
those telephone
Okay.
questions also.
And that's we're gonna use those questions you provided us?
that, or unless you guys, you know, come
I
up
don't
with
know
some
of any
other ones,
others, I
if you
mean-
have any others you wanna suggest, or?
Well, were you gonna write up an actual,
Yeah, I can write up the disclaimer language and then it'd probably be best for staff
Yeah, I
to
mean,
put
just
together
take care of
that.
this.
We can
Since
put
you
it
left.
together.
Alright.
We can send it out to you.
I'd ask him at least one question about what they know about mesquite and why would they,
That's number one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the questions are
Spot on.
yeah.
Okay, listen, I don't have any problem with those.
On the telephone, right here. Yeah.
well, it's not on this one,
No, it's on
on
the,
the other one.
page, it's just telephone or first
Yeah.
interview questions.
no, next page.
Do you guys, are you guys ready for a motion? I mean, I think we're
Yeah.
pretty well to there.
I did, so if one thing that's came up in discussion is if we wanted to secure a place, in the district, we don't have as many, the facility doesn't allow for, I think, to break up the board into 3 separate.
Last time we did it at the city hall.
Did it at City Hall upstairs.
We've required to that, but for us to do, we need to have a set time and date, so they can ensure that they actually have their facility available, if they can even have it available. And if not, that's gonna be an issue if we have to go to another place that can to allow 3 separate rooms.
I'd say we go to Orlando.
I agree.
Well, one group will be in Disney World, the other one.
You're gonna get a lot of applicants for that one.
Studios.
And you gotta have the press there
Oh, wait,
to
we
keep
got
you
them on
honest.
the PowerPoint
I guess that's a possible question too, is when we get it down to the personal interviews, is that something the board, if they're a distance away, getting here, is that, it's on them to get here, or?
Wow, that's come up before.
I think the stance we took before is that they pay for their,
Yeah.
For their job.
We won't be
their
picking up any
job,
tab.
they'll
Okay.
come interview.
Perfect. So I guess still if there's as things progress, I guess we can tie down a date more to actually hold the personal interviews.
Yeah, let's-
So we don't get too far ahead, I guess.
I can dive the city for us, you know, about getting some rooms, but we need to kinda know a time frame.
Yeah.
That's, I've
Well,
contacted
that's-
them, and that's what they said.
It comes down,
The
so.
banks are good, pretty, they're real civic orientated, you know, you
Mhm.
go upstairs.
Look at a calendar and say, you know, we're gonna have it on this date regardless, I guess, and that way it allows staff for us to go and secure a location. If city facilities doesn't work out, then we can go to
School.
XYZ, whatever, right.
Cliff.
I think we can find a place.
Yeah.
Just don't fit no desks anymore.
I go for San Diego, it's closer.
We can have one interview here, one at the Bunkerville Justice Court.
Okay, at that point, I think we're ready for a motion, so if anybody would like to make a motion that kinda outlines this whole matrix and everything.
I think you're the man, you got.
You got it all in there.
All right, I'll make a motion that, we have the pre-screening by Mary Johnson and Aaron Bunker. And then, after the pre-screening, they'll be assisted by, Richard and Sandra from the board to make telephone interviews, following the questions that have been provided. After the telephone interviews, and you guys will set up that score sheet for the telephone interviews. We'll have a 12-person committee, which will be 3 groups. 2 of the groups will have 2 board members. They'll have 1 public, a person from the public, and Steve Tejan, Aaron Bunker, and Wes Smith will be the people from the district that will be provided. And Mary will be the control person to hand out the score sheets and collect them and add those up, give us a final score. We'll also use the questions that have been provided on that final question.
Good job.
And that's my motion.
I'll second.
Can I ask one question?
Go ahead.
Do you want to use this pre-screen sheet for Mary and
Yes.
Aaron to follow as they
Yeah,
do the
the
pre-screen?
pre-screen sheet that has been provided, you guys will use that for the pre-screen.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, now call for the vote, all those in favor? Say aye. Unanimous decision, so that